Good morning. This is Monday morning. This is Will Knight, and we're back with another podcast of All About Nothing. And today, my guest is
Alfredo Marulanda, clinical social worker.
he is a social worker, and we're going to talk a little bit about the mental state of mind. So, Alfredo, tell everybody your background.
My background, I started doing therapy around 15 years ago. I did most of my education in Boston, and that's why I started involved in the community, helping people with mental health, and medical issues. So
Okay.
from Boston, I moved to Chicago, and I work in insurance companies. And during the pandemic, I see the necessity, like extra necessity, to
Uh huh.
do therapy. So I decided to do full-time therapy.
Okay. So we're not going to talk about me because I'm actually on the couch, but we're not going to talk about that, my issues. What does self care mean?
Well, self care is having that connection with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and really have a moment to ask, what do I need at this moment? Something that I would like to do that make me happy, that make me feel stable. So it's not just to make an appointment for a yoga class or just go to the gym 3 times a week. Of course, it's part of self care, but it's more like at the moment that
Mm-hmm.
you feel like, what do I need at this moment that will make me feel better or happy?
Okay. And what are some of the rituals that happens day to day when you have like a tough day at work?
I think it's something that I recommend uh, of my clients and everybody is, if we know already how it's gonna be our day, start a ritual thinking, okay, my day is start at 8 o'clock until 5 or 6 o'clock. Try to visualize what I will do after work. Could be go for a little walk, maybe eat something different, maybe call friends and kind of change whatever happened during the day, have a different conversation. So I
Or
think it's,
or like go to the gym?
or go to the gym or meet some friends,
Okay.
or something that I also recommend is have as soon as we wake up, have a couple moments to meditate. And
Okay.
meditations could be just to recognize who we are, our potential, our skills, people who love us, people that we love. So that kind of help us to get that day with a positive energy.
And we're talking about meditation. I was talking to a friend of mine recently. He's in Peru,
Hmm.
and he's traveling. And he said that he's going through some issues with his former girlfriend, and he couldn't sleep,
Hmm.
and now he's starting to meditate more. Do you find that that's helpful?
Definitely, meditation is a connection. It's a very, could be, I don't want to say it's spiritual connections, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a deep connection with yourself, and not only be mindful about yourself, but also be thankful who you are, what do you have, and connect mentally and physically with you. So I think
Okay.
it's a good practice. And I know people, sometimes people say, oh, I cannot be still half an hour, 20 minutes, or an hour.
Yeah.
I recommend just start with 5 minutes. Just recognize where are you, all your potential, connect with your body. Could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and little by little you will increase in the time.
Do you recommend that people um, meditate during the morning or at night?
I think it's not really a schedule for you to meditate, but I like to do it in the morning. I want to make sure that I charge with positive energy. And of course, if I have a difficult day, I like to do right before I go to sleep. I think it's sleep is very essential for us
Yeah.
to be okay for the next day.
So there's I meet a lot of people that says, oh, I only get 4 hours sleep, I only get 5 hours sleep, that's enough. And I'm like, that is so not enough. And I believe like when you have a high stress job, you need to have sleep.
Yeah, you just mentioned high stress level, so maybe we need a high level of self care.
Yeah,
So how
yeah.
we get that balance and say, well, if I work, let's say this week, I need to work a lot, like 10, 12 14 hours a day. Let me see how I can do something next week or
Yeah.
in the weekend. So it's only 30% of the humanity who can be okay sleeping 3 to 4
Yeah.
hours. The rest of the people definitely we need
Okay.
7 or 8
More sleep.
more
Yeah.
sleep and more rest.
I'm
Yeah.
volunteering for more sleep myself. What is some of the most common myths about self-care?
The it's money involved. So people thinking about, or like I mentioned before, and I love yoga. Any class that involve money, people feel like, oh, I don't have money or time or compromise.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just to find something that we feel comfortable to do and that we are more mindful.
Okay.
So self care is just let me see what how I feel, something that I feel that I want to do
Okay.
right now to make me
And could it
be more
be
energetic.
like
Better.
even like a spa day, like once every 3 months would help?
Definitely, if we have the capacity and say, well, every month I'm going to get a massage, or a spa day, maybe every 3 months, every 4 months. But if we have that capacity to schedule, it's good to put in a calendar, in a reminder every 2 weeks or something, so like that our brain knows that something good is coming.
Yeah. Okay. So, what is some of the advice which you give to someone who's feeling guilty about taking time for themselves, especially like when they have family, they have kids, they have a husband, they're the sole, maybe caretaker or provider in the family.
Mhm. So, is guilt is something that is emotional and
Mm-hmm.
rational. So guilt is like we thinking I'm not doing something good for somebody or what I'm doing is wrong. So it's good to recognize that how that guilt is really is true, and
Yeah.
is how is a guilt. Like taking care of ourselves is once we are feeling better, once we have a lot of energy, definitely we have the motivation to help
Yeah.
others. And I always put this example when we are in a flying somewhere and the flight attendant, when they give the instructions of how to use the mask, they always say, put your mask first and then help others. So
Ah.
basically,
Okay.
that's how I see self-care. Let's see how I
Okay.
feel, and then I definitely can help others.
What does I have a question that I written down, and it's about humor and joy to balance your life. And I know, like for myself, I go to comedy clubs,
Hmm.
and it's interesting because it takes you out of your whole day. Listen to someone else make you laugh, or kind of like joking around with friends. Going out on a Friday or Saturday night, and you just rip each other to death.
Hmm.
But it also brings joy in some ways. So how does that like humor and joy play a role in balancing?
Yeah, I think uh, humor and it's a good coping mechanism. It definitely helps to relax. Definitely helps for us to forget whatever is going on.
Yeah,
And I think it's one of the best coping mechanisms that we can use.
yeah. So how do you balance yourself from a hard day? I mean, you see clients every day. What, 4 times a week, 5 times a week?
Sometimes I see clients 6 days a week.
Oh wow.
Um, my schedule is very flexible, and I check my calendar and I
Mm-hmm.
see I already make plans for the day off. Like say on Sunday, let me go to the movies, or if I have any afternoon free, let me try a new restaurant or let me cook something different. So I balance my I would say my life. Recognizing how I feel,
Yeah.
in my listening to my body, and when my body's telling me, "Hey, take a break," I definitely listen because it prevents me to get my stress levels too high.
And you're a psychologist. You've been here,
Therapist,
therapist. You've been
clinical
here
therapist.
in this space for how long?
Here in Chicago, I've been working as a therapist for over In Chicago for over 5 years, five
Okay.
to 6 years.
But your history goes back
Hmm.
15 years, right? You were in
Yes,
Boston?
I did in Boston. I work as a counselor in Boston. I used to do counseling for homeless people, people who were um, um, with medical conditions like HIV or STDs. So I used to meet with them and listen to them and help them to find the resources that they need.
Yeah. Okay. So you work with other medical people who have diseases
Yeah,
or therapy lifelong
yeah,
process to deal with them.
definitely yes. In Chicago, I work with one of the big insurance company in medical department.
Okay.
So I used to not only complete assessments, but I also help them to connect with the specialists that they need.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I was at the doctor a couple of weeks ago, and I believe now that anytime you see a doctor, they have to ask you 100 questions about your safety, your care, depression. So I asked the nurse, I said, what happens with all this if somebody says no? Does it just get filtered into the no box and you go to the next client or patient? Or do you actually, do someone call them and they says, oh yeah, we have social workers and therapists that they follow up with. So it's a red flag.
Yes, it's a reflex, and also I think it's a great tool, even for people who feel it out, to recognize how they feel.
Okay.
So when they answer the questions, it's like, okay, how I've been feeling in the last 2 weeks, and how is my anxiety, or how something that make me feel very sad. So at that moment, I feel like is that the time, like I said, to do a self-evaluation. Then I feel like because we have a very busy life,
Yeah.
sometimes we don't get that time to have that self-evaluation and to see where are we.
Because people have cancer, they have organ transplants, they have donations and, you know, Parkinson's and things like that. So that is something that they are always stressing themselves about.
Mm. Yeah, some medical conditions or any any stress, not only because medical conditions can increase anxiety or depression. So so those questions are very helpful for doctors to recommend to see therapists.
Do you find it, and I'm specifically talking about you and other social workers, but right now for you,
Mhm.
do you find it hard to leave work?
I think it's natural for me care about clients, and there are some situations that yes, worry about my clients, but when I leave work, I like to check, especially when I have those difficult cases, how much I help the client and what resources I provide to the clients to seek for extra help, even
Yeah.
if they cannot see me until the next session. So yeah, I care, but that doesn't mean that I carry the problems with them.
Okay. What gives you hope about people?
Change.
Yeah.
I think we have the capacity to change. I think that we can evolve. And when I went to school, in college, I see students, very young students and also adult students. So I see, well, changes and evolved um, growth doesn't have any age or anything that we can achieve. So change is definitely something that I see in clients how they
Mm-hmm.
have changed, and when they come here and tell me, hey, I apply any tools that you provide me or recommendations that you gave me last sessions, and I feel better. So I see those changes and make me happy.
Okay. Do you have group therapy sessions
Mm.
or with strangers? Like, let's say you have 5 or 6 clients. Do you do like group outings or meet and greets or things like
Mm.
that? Or
See, recently I started doing painting expressive.
okay,
Uh, it's kind of therapeutic, but I try not to. It's not a therapy group, because for you to be art therapist is another career.
Yeah.
However, I use some different tools to help people to express themselves. So last month we did the love language, and we
Okay.
did it at the park, and we are doing it monthly.
So,
Uh,
what is love language?
so love language is how you identify your the way that you express love.
Oh, okay.
So some people like to, let's say,
It's hard to say for people to say "I love you."
it's not it's could be, but also how they express love.
Okay.
And if let's say my partner doesn't know that that's the way that I express love, and he or she dismiss, so maybe I feel some kind of way. But if I tell my partner, hey, for me showing love is act of services. That
Mm-hmm.
means I like to cook. I like to, make sure that we spending quality
When
time or something. So I
right
want my partner to recognize what is
when
my
he or she
love
comes
language.
home, a
Hmm.
meal is set,
Yeah.
the wine is poured, or if there are sororities, something else is poured, and
Hmm.
so that's a way of showing
Yes.
your partner, male or female, love
Hmm.
just by expressing
Yeah.
your emotion.
Yes, exactly. So there are 5 ways to express that love. Some people like to hear their partner to say "I love you" or "I miss you." So that could be
Okay.
love language to expressing
Okay.
affirmations.
And you hold this in the park.
I do in the park, but then also we have here in my building we have a conference room. So it's something that I want to do, and of course it will be small groups. But I already have organized for them, like January, February.
Okay.
We have something to do this weekend, but then also in December we
Okay.
want to work uh, to create some holidays cards.
Nice.
Hmm.
Are you going to
A
send me a
painting.
holiday card?
Yeah, absolutely.
I got his word on that.
Or you can come and enjoy and paint holiday cards for
Oh,
anybody.
okay.
So that's the idea.
Okay. Is this open to the public or just for your
No,
clients?
it's open to the public. They just need to go to the website
Oh, okay.
and register for groups activities, and yeah,
Okay. And while we on your website, what is your website, or
it's
how can people find you?
remotionstherapy.com.
Okay. And what is some things that you wish that therapists wish everybody knows?
That we are humans, that we don't have the answer for everything, and that we not always assess, observing or checking things out, especially when we are in social events or with friends. So we are not always working or thinking how to diagnosing people.
Yeah.
Uh, we are not. This is our job. We dedicate time, working with clients, but that doesn't mean that we bring all the knowledge everywhere, because
Yeah.
we need free time too.
So a couple more questions and we're going to end. What are some of the things about talking to a therapist is a
Hmm.
stigma in different communities? Like, for instance, the Black community, the African American community, the Spanish community. What are some of those stigmas that associates with talking to a therapist?
Yeah, I feel like a stigma about mental health, uh, which have changed, and I need to say thanks of social media, which is something that it have helped to see mental health in a different
Yeah.
level. But I think stigma is when people feel like asking somebody for help is like showing weakness. So, or the problems needs to stay at home. Nobody needs to know what's going on. So I think in mental health is we are not alone. We
Yeah.
are in a community, and it's confidential. And not always we need to see a therapist when we have problems. It's also when we see where are we, what
Yeah.
things are working, and what things we would like to change. And I give this example when people go to see the doctor.
Right.
Maybe they only go when they are sick, but they recommend to go at least once a year, even
Yeah.
though they are not sick. So the same thing.
Yeah, it's funny because my doctor, I saw him because I had a kidney transplant, and 5 years ago or 6 years, and he says, "So, what do you want to see me? A year, 6 months, 3 months?" I'm like, "Let's just keep it, twice a year." I feel comfortable. I'm in tune with my body. I still go to the doctor, and I still get blood tests done all the time, every 4 months, 3 to 4 months. So I just notify my doctors like, hey, I'm going in for blood tests. Do you have any orders coming? So I know what's going on with my health.
Yeah, I think same thing with mental health. It's just allow somebody to help us to see what are our goals, maybe some fears, maybe to celebrate successes and yeah. So that's basically about therapy as well, not
What
only mental issues.
what does the community or your neighborhood play in going to a therapist or mental health?
I think the community is more open to see a therapist, and it's a lot of in the neighborhood. It's a lot of therapists in here, and we something that we are um, providing in many therapies is virtual therapy. So in case the clients can come to see
I'm
in
sorry, what did
person,
you say?
virtual like telehealth.
Oh,
So they
okay.
don't
All
need
right.
to come in person. They also can do it by video call.
Okay.
So it's very helpful. So the community is very more aware than is they can choose
Yeah.
in person or virtual.
Okay. And what is your heavy Latin accent from?
I am original from Colombia.
Okay.
Um, I've been here for over, I would say, 18 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Nice, nice. And you went to school in Boston?
yeah. I went to school in Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I moved to Boston, and I started basically my education from zero
Yeah.
in Boston. But in Colombia, I went to school, law school.
Yeah. Interesting. So how was the move here from Colombia to the United States?
It was a challenge. I think that I had the opportunity to explore,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, just let me take it to see where this adventure take me. And I'm happy that I make that decision, and I've been able to do what I like to do,
Okay.
and I would say practice my talent. I think everybody has a talent.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be artistic talent. Can be just listened is a talent. Bring happiness in a place that people are sad.
Yeah.
Cooking is a talent. Be silent is a talent. So it's so many things, many talents that I believe everybody has.
Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap this up, but I have one more question for you, and not about therapy or clients. We're moving away from that. What is one piece of advice that you could give to someone to carry them on to the future?
I would say recognize that we are not alone, and have some time to reconnect with people that we know they are there for us. And here and there is very important to call them or have a moment to say, hey, I love you, uh, you are a great person, or I love our friendship, because that definitely help you a lot to make you feel that you have a support system.
Yeah.
So that's something that we I definitely recommend to everybody to check your phone, check not only in social media, but maybe a personal text and say, hey, I just checking on you and see how things going.
Invest in your friends.
Invest in your friends, family, support system. I think it's important right now. So that would be one of the big
Yeah.
recommendations that I will give to everybody.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Will Knight, and it's all about nothing. But one more time, where can people find you?
People can find me, of course, going to my website, which is remotionstherapy.com, and I am located in Uptown.
Okay. And we'll put that on our website as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.